I started using Marrow 1.5 years ago when we were stuck at home during lockdown. I started using Marrow free version and watched few videos, and I felt in love with those videos and especially the QBank and all. So I decided, yes, this is the one which I have to choose because this connects with me more. So I took Marrow for NEET PG everywhere, every platform you see. Marrow is always the best. Rohan sir has made surgery so wonderful and concise that I never thought I would be able to study surgery like this. Personally, for me, the best feature of Marrow, my favorite feature is QBank and of course Grand Test. Because without Marrow, QBank and Grand Test, I wouldn't have been able to score this much.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Abbas Ali, your orthopedics faculty with Marrow, and today it gives me immense pleasure to introduce you Dr. Sreerag, who has scored 227 in FMGE December 2021 exam. And this was his first attempt, and he cleared it with flying colors. And the most interesting thing about his story is that he utilized the 9 months that he was locked down in India to just massively burn through all the content of Marrow to become this successful candidate who he is today. Right. Hi, Dr. Sreerag. How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good, sir. It's an immense
How,
pleasure
how
talking with
right. I mean, it's an honor to talk to you. To a person who's basically not only suffered through COVID but also understood the value of time and utilized those 9 months of lockdown to learn everything that he possibly couldn't have learned during his course in MBBS. It was wonderful utilization of time, but we'll go into details about that. But let me first ask you, how does it feel to crack possibly the toughest exam for a foreign medical graduate in the first
Uh,
attempt?
more than happy, I would describe it as relieved because unless we cleared this exam, we are in kind of a stressful situation. So I'm finally relieved and also happy. I was kind of shocked to see these marks because I didn't expect, honestly, I didn't expect because my paper one was a bit difficult. So I kept my margin of hopes less, and paper two was something that I was much comfortable. So, but 227 was something that I didn't expect at all. So happy.
But let me just bring you to reality. I mean, although he feels that he was shocked, the mock exam, the Marrow
Yeah.
mock exam that he wrote, he scored 233, which was just 5 mark different from his annual final score, which is very representative of what he got. And so let me just ask you, Dr. Srirag, what was your primary source of preparation?
Marrow only.
Okay,
I start from
which plan did you
video
use?
sessions. Plan C. I was a
Plan
Plan
C.
C
So you're a
user.
video question bank and test series user, a complete
Yes,
package
for
user.
free.
So
Yes.
when did you start using Marrow?
I started using Marrow 1.5 years ago when we were stuck at home during lockdown. I started watching videos from basic subjects, anatomy, biochem, and all.
No, let me
And I
just ask you this. Let me just stop you and ask you. There were so many
Mhm.
options available out there in the
Mhm.
market, online and offline. Why did you choose Marrow? What was so interesting about Marrow that pulled you towards it?
Yes, there were many platforms, but always in my mind, I knew that one day I have to appear for NEET PG. So that was my primary goal, and FMG was just a step towards that goal. So for NEET PG, everywhere, every platform you see, Marrow is always the best. You can see the toppers interview; they are talking about Marrow, and even I started using Marrow free version and watched few videos, and I felt in love with those videos and especially the QBank and all. So I decided, yes, this is the one which I have to choose because this connects with me more. So I took Marrow, but initial stages I didn't use it quite well. But when we were stuck at home, I started watching videos and made my own concise notes. That's very
Okay,
important.
so you started watching videos. So let me just ask you this question.
Yeah.
In the videos that you have watched, I know all the teachers must have been amazing teaching you all the
Yes.
basics and fundamentals, right? Can you just name a few favorites?
Uh, I don't handpick my favorite like that, but the way of teaching like Manisha ma'am, Sakshi ma'am, Dr. Mayur sir. But if you lay in front of me all the 19 subjects of Marrow and ask me which note will you pick first and read first, it will always be surgery. Rohan sir has made surgery so wonderful and concise that I never thought I would be able to study surgery like this. He has made there is enough number of points and concepts that which equips you to solve questions, but there are also a lot of clinically relevant points, so it's a perfect mixture. So thank you so
Yes,
much.
so surgery is an enormous subject which has a lot of connection with anatomy and
Yes,
various clinical managements. So what Dr. Rohan has done is he's mathematically structured it in a way where anybody can
yes,
pick it up from any place and just continue understanding. It's lovely how he
continuously.
has presented it. And also, like you mentioned, Dr. Manisha has made ENT so beautiful and so
Oh,
simple. And there is no talking
even,
about Dr. Sakshi
even though
madam. She
even though
was
I
my
use
teacher. I learned obs and gynae from her. Amazing teacher, amazing lecture. Nevertheless, tell me, in those 9 months that you were stuck in lockdown in India, how did you utilize Marrow for your benefit?
my approach to preparation was pretty much straightforward. I watched the videos, made my notes, solved QBank, solved grand test, and then revise. So
This is just hold on. So, Sreerag, my mind is just blowing up. You made your own notes.
yes.
Not a lot of students I speak to these days make their own notes, although it's an essential part of preparation. Tell me why you made your own notes and how did you go about doing it?
I knew that I'm most much comfortable in reading my own handwritten notes. I feel more connected with it, and my notes is a complete mess. You will see points scattered here and there, all over there, and a lot of different kinds of diagram and signs and symbols that I use. So it makes me much more connected towards myself rather than somebody's ready-made
So you
notes.
made notes
And
for
at
all
that
the
time,
subjects.
yes, I made notes for all subject. Yes, I did.
Amazing, amazing. So, what would your usual schedule look like when you were making notes? How would you watch the video? At what speed would you watch the video? How would you write the notes? How would your typical day look like in those 9 months of making notes?
Most of the I will start from morning itself. My speed would be mostly 1.5x or 1.8x, not 2x much, but mostly 1.5x or 1.8x. In medicine videos and all, I have to slow it a bit down because Rakesh sir talks a bit fast, so 1.2x and all. But most of the videos 1.5x, and I usually make notes according to my own interest, my own colors. I use crayons and all to color, so
To
it
keep things
feels more
interesting.
yeah, makes it interesting. So
So,
at
I
that
mean,
time,
so let me ask you. I mean, when you were preparing notes, you were watching the videos and preparing notes. So, do you continue doing this, or did you interpose it with question bank or grand test?
once I finish a topic, I usually do the question bank at that time only. I didn't push
Okay, so you would
question bank.
watch the video, make
Yeah,
the notes while watching the video, and do the question
correct.
bank of that topic that you just watched.
Yeah,
So
yes.
you're layering the information.
Yes, yes, yes. Well,
It's
one
amazing.
mistake I did was not revising at that time because I thought revision was something that we should do at the end, but that was a mistake.
So
We
it's a
have to
classic
revise.
mistake, Srirag. You're not the first one who's making this mistake. In fact, most of the people who are watching this video right now must be making the same mistake here, thinking
Yes, yes.
that revision will come after they finish the first reading, which is
No.
unfortunately not true. I've talked about this in one of my videos where I say revision starts from day one. Revision
Yes.
starts from day one of your preparation. Suppose you finish something today, you have to revise it the next day, otherwise you'll forget. And if you keep on revising everything that you have read over the days of you reading it, you will realize that at the end of the whole syllabus, you will not even have to revise them once again because you're so familiar with it because you have revised it so many times
So
throughout
many
the
times.
journey.
As you always say, revision is not something. There is no one perfect revision. There's only multiple average revisions.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. There is no perfect, there is not a single perfect revision. There is no one perfect revision. Because a lot of times students ask me, Sir, can I do just one solid revision and will that be enough? There is no solid revision. And there are
Nothing like
multiple average or poorly done revisions that will actually help you remember. Anyways,
only
so you made your own handwritten notes, customized it, colored it, crayoned it, marked it, and beautified it so that you can remember it. You watched all the videos approximately 1.5 to 1.8x and you did the question bank. It took you roughly 9 months of your time, well utilized time in the lockdown. Now, my question to you was which question bank did you use, the NEET PG question bank or the FMG question bank?
initially, I started with NEET PG question bank. It was lengthy, but I still went on with it because I was in kind of, as you said, layering my information on the top. I watched videos, I made notes, I read it, and I solved QBank. I went on with that for quite few months, and I solved almost 700 modules. But the mistake I made was I didn't read the explanations quite well. A lot of questions
Oh,
when the explanations are lengthy. I will just read the answer and then I skip it. That's a mistake. That's a big mistake, because personally for me, the best feature of Marrow, my favorite feature is QBank, and of course Grand Test, because I can give you an example. In the last FMG mock test of Marrow, there was a question in anesthesia, that which IV agent doesn't cause myocardial depression, and there was options like ketamine, etomidate, propofol, thiopental, and all. Lot of people marked ketamine. Even I also marked ketamine, even though etomidate was the answer. These intelligent people at Marrow who create this grand test, they knew that a lot of people are going to mark ketamine as the answer. So if you read the explanation, they have given you not just why etomidate is the answer, but also why ketamine is not the answer. So when you solve
Absolutely.
a yes, when you solve a Marrow Q bank, or when you read through review a Marrow grand test, you are not just reading an answer to a question. You are learning a concept around that topic on which a lot of questions can be framed. So that's the best part of Marrow, I feel.
And that is what I keep telling everybody. Question bank is a learning tool rather than a testing tool.
Yes,
In
yes,
the explanations of the question bank, if you dig deeper, the answers you'll not only get the answers to the question, but you'll also get why other options are not the right answer in that particular scenario, where you will understand what to think. Basically, the question bank is teaching you how to think like an examiner. And that's the wonderful asset that anyone should use and everyone should use
even
to,
the main exam
understand.
also will be completely different from what you expect. The examiner will test you in much different. There were a lot of confusing options here, so you should be always, as Dagger sir say, one step ahead of the exam, and that's what exactly Marrow grant us do. It prepares you one step ahead of the exam. So even if the examiner goes nasty and asks you a tough question, you are well confident and say, "Bring it on, I'm well prepared."
Okay, so what about the question bank? You told me before I was talking to you that you realized that NEET PG question bank was a little on the harder side for you. So you shifted to the FMG question bank. When did
Yes.
this drastic change happen, and who suggested you to do this?
It's happened 4.5 months before my exam. When I really started my preparation, I had a huge break of 4 months where I got COVID and all, and I had to start again. And as I told you, my notes felt completely new to me, and I had to decide whether I have to switch to FMGQ Bank or continue with NEET PG Q Bank. And someone from Marrow, Dr. Jennifer, she suggested me you should better start with FMGQ Bank because it's more curated towards the FMG exam. And even I also felt that I might not be able to go through all those NEET PG Q Bank, and I went with FMG Q Bank, and that was a very important and correct decision, because had I chosen the NEET PG Q Bank, I would never be able to complete this.
Yeah, that's
So
the whole
FMG
point
is
of having a FMG section in the Marrow app, to basically give you the stuff that you need for FMG exam.
if
Because as of
somebody
right
thinks that
now, it's a different exam.
yes, if somebody thinks that FMG Q Bank is easy and not good enough, no. It's well structured. A lot of questions are from the NEET PG Q Bank itself. It's completely enough. Always trust your source. Always trust your source.
Yeah. So for FMG, the thing is you need to qualify it. And in order to
Yes,
qualify it, you need to get a certain threshold of marks. You're not competing with the other people. So
yes,
if you have a threshold of knowledge and you know it very well, there is a very high chance of you getting through it. Whereas in
yes,
NEET PG or INI said, you're competing with each other. So the threshold of knowledge is very different. It's subjective to the audience who's appearing for the exam. So you need to be better than the rest. And that is why you have to go to the next level to score that rank. So this clarity has to be there in your mind. The questions that are asked on FMG exam are fundamental questions, and you should not make any kind of mistake in those fundamental questions. And sticking to the FMG Q bank will enforce that fundamental in your head so that you don't end up making mistakes on the exam. And which has happened to you, right? Your mock exam was 233 and your final
yes.
FMG score was 227,
227.
very close to the accurate score.
Grant test is very important in one more aspect, because if somebody learns a concept and they think they know that concept, and suddenly the examiner twists the question around that concept, and you are baffled in front of the computer and you don't know which one to mark. You are confusing between two options. So solving grant test gives you that approach. You know how a question can be framed regarding a topic which you already knew. Okay, so solving grant test please do that.
Right. Now let me ask you about revisions, Dr. Sirag. When did you start your
Yeah.
revisions, and what was your source and approach to revisions?
My revision started 2 months before the exam. I planned for two revisions, and sadly, everything was not according to plan. There were a lot of differences and all, but I managed to complete most of the subjects. But still, there were a lot of subjects I had to skip or just went through the important points in the note and only, like physiology, biochemistry, and all. Not that because I don't want to study the subject because of the time constraints. And also, I said I bookmarked a lot of. I made the mistake of bookmarking a lot of questions. So if you bookmark a lot of questions, you will be overburdened at the end of your preparation with a lot of questions to revise and revise. Better to bookmark only the questions that you feel difficult, only the questions that you seem so important, and don't bookmark everything else.
Okay, so let me just summarize what happened here, Dr. Sirag. These are the good things that you did. You utilized the lockdown of 9 months to go through the content, watch the videos, make the notes, do the question bank as much as possible. Great thing. Second thing, you consistently gave grant test. You said 10 in number. Not only did you give grant test, you also reviewed the explanations, tried to understand why your answers were right or wrong. You attempted the mock exam, which was freakishly representative of your final score. And you started your revisions good 2 months before the exam and going through the content that you have read. Now, from you, I want to hear what you think are the principal mistakes you made while preparing, which, if you could have avoided, would have given you a better score.
First thing, taking a huge gap in my preparation. There had been a 4 months of gap in my preparation, and after that, everything else, everything in front of me, or my notes itself, completely felt new to me. So that was a big mistake that I did. Another one, not utilizing pearls enough. Pearls are just facts, high yielding facts combined together. And yes, the exam is more towards the clinical side, more conceptual side, but they have facts built into it. So you have to learn them anyway. There is no other way around it. So start utilizing pearls early on in the preparation. Maybe just going through two or three in a day, bookmark the one you tend to forget, and then revise them at the end of your preparation. Not trying to mug up all the facts at the end. That will not
Okay.
work.
So not having a gap, not using the pearls. What else?
And another thing I would say is giving understand which subject will take you a lot of time. For me, medicine took a lot of time than expected. So I didn't plan that ahead. Okay, I thought I could complete medicine in this fixed amount of time, and I couldn't. So I had to extend it, and which will affect other subjects also, because once you plan, you have to once you make a plan, you have to stick with it. But for me, medicine went a little bit over, and I had to decrease the amount of time I allotted to some other shorter subjects, just for the sake of studying medicine. So if you feel that you are in weak in one subject, plan accordingly. You should plan
Right.
ahead for all your understand where you stand and plan.
Essentially, don't underestimate the difficulty of the subject or overestimate your potential to finish in time.
Yes, yes.
Be realistic in terms of understanding how difficult something can be.
Yeah, you have to plan ahead, not just for watching videos or making notes. You should plan ahead. Have time for making videos. Have time for reading notes. Have time for QBank. Have time for grand test. Have time for occasional breaks to fuel up your brain. Have time for everything. So you have to plan ahead and understand where you stand right now, and then move on. Just
What I mean, so
blindly.
what do you think would be a rough ballpark figure in terms of time for a person, say, who's in, say, third year of MBBS, wanting to start now to be ready for FMG? What do you think is a ballpark figure in terms of time? 6 months, 9 months, 10 months for them to do everything?
Depends upon how in depth they want to go, because if somebody wish to go with revision videos a lot and then QBank, they would require much less time. But if you are going to go through the hardest way, the straightforward way, watching all those main videos, then you will take more than approximately 10 months, because you have to watch the videos, you have to go through the Q bank, you have to revise it again. You should always have time for revision, because revision, they are exhausting, revision, they are boring, but there is no
Boring.
other way around it. There is
Right.
no other way
Right.
around it. You have to go through it.
Right.
So you should plan ahead for
So,
that.
okay. So, what would be one favorite feature throughout the app? What would be your one favorite feature throughout the app?
Q bank,
Question
undoubtedly Q
bank.
bank.
Why do
Yes.
you love it so much?
As I said just now, they gives you the concept, they gives you the MCQ solving skill. I'm somebody who have solved a lot more than read from the note, but that's you should always have a balance between reading notes, watching videos, and solving questions. But for me, questions was a bit more on the higher side. I solved a lot of questions. I bookmarked a lot of questions. I did it again and again. So my strength was, rather than accumulating a lot of information from videos and notes, I did a lot of questions. I did a lot of grand tests. So my MCQ solving skills was pretty good, and I think it worked for me. You should find what works for you.
Okay, no, no. Let me ask you this: you were stuck in the lockdown for 9 months, right?
Mhm.
And you were COVID positive later. You've forgotten what you had read because you had a gap of preparation. You must have been demotivated multiple times. You must have felt like, yeah, this is it. I can't do it.
Definitely.
What kept you going? I mean, how could you be so consistent and disciplined? And what made you come back to your journey?
Well, I was not much disciplined, but one fact that I know, that I have to clear this exam no matter what. Because, however, you can either keep on complaining about the difficulty of the exam, or you can understand the fact that the exam is going to be difficult, it more and more difficult in the coming years. So you have to clear it anyway, and you can accept the fact or move on. So what I did was, I accepted the fact. I tried to stay one step ahead of the exam. I tried to solve a lot of questions, improve my MCQ solving skills, have that patience of sitting in front of the device for a longer time. So that's what my essential mind, when I approach this in the last 4.5 months. I have to be able to have that presence of mind, and also that patience, that mental
No,
stamina.
did you at times feel ki I can't do this? This is just beyond my capacity. I will give up. I mean, did you ever feel that?
Yes, of course, I have felt it multiple times. Not to give up, but I felt a lot of times that I don't remember anything at all. I have studied. I think I will not be able to complete what I'm trying to, because a lot of times you plan one thing and something else that out of your control comes up, and just your preparation completely, it completely
Gets off
disrupts.
track.
Yeah, off track. And that makes you demotivated, that makes you frustrated. But what and I have to say this for everyone watching this video: don't expect a complete perfect preparation all throughout. It's not going to happen. There will be times where we don't feel like to open the book. There will be times where we don't feel like to read anything. There will be times where you don't remember anything. Maybe there is a function going on in your family and you couldn't study at all. There's going to be a lot of instances like that. What matters is how well you do in that day, how much effort whether you put your best effort into your preparation that day, and staying consistent. That's the most important part. You have to stay consistent. Once you get off the track, it's difficult to come back. Okay, so try to stay consistent. Things that out of your control, they will keep on happening, because it's life. It will keep on
Yeah,
happening.
I love how you've summarized it perfectly. I mean, that was my last question in terms of
Yes.
what would you tell to your juniors when you have said it so beautifully. Staying consistent, staying on track is more important than
Yeah.
actually being perfect on track. Just staying on track is enough. I mean, if you're a person who you study 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, you must have some good days where you study 8 or 10 hours a day, or you must have some bad days where you will study just 1 or 1.5 hour of day. The point is, stick to it. Even the half
Stick
hour
to
that
it.
you study that day will keep you consistent, and just
Yeah,
don't give up.
make the
Suppose
best.
you, yeah, suppose there is a party at home, there is a family function, and you're disturbed, you're distracted. Just sit down and open a QBank module and just do 1 or 2 modules. Just stay in touch with the subject. This will keep you hopeful. This will keep you disciplined. This will tell you, yeah, आज कितना भी बुरा हुआ, whatever it is, I have read something, and that will give you hope and positivity. for the next day.
Yeah, don't get disheartened. Marrow has so many features. You can use the custom modules. You can use your previous bookmarked questions. You can use revision videos. All those features are there to augment your preparation. Whenever you feel you don't feel like to solve question, then watch a revision video because it's much more relaxing. It's just a passive information, but you are not wasting your time. So
Right.
do something like that to keep you going. That's the most important part. You have to
So there
keep
is a
moving on.
table of buffet. There is a buffet of information. You go and
Yeah,
consume whatever you want to consume in whatever way you want to consume, as long as you're consuming it, because that will eventually take you near your
yeah.
success.
What matters is you should move on. Keep moving forward. That's the most important part.
Excellent. Beautifully summarized, Dr. Sreerag. I'm so happy that I got a chance to speak to you. Uh, I wish you all the best. And I'm
Thank
sure everybody in your family must be so happy and proud of you because you have completed a huge journey, starting to go abroad at a very young age, pursuing medicine in an alien country, learning a new language, and, in difficult circumstances. The temperatures would be very, very cold there, and clearing this exam and now ready to practice in India.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking with you also. And the first thing when I saw my result, I did was write a thank note to Marrow team, Marrow support team, expressing my gratitude towards all those people who works behind the curtain, all those technical staffs. Never ever I had a situation where my technical issues or my questions that unsolved, they were always there to help me. And also these people who create these q banks and grant test, they have put so much work into it. And I my sincere gratitude towards all those people, because without Marrow q bank and grant test, I wouldn't have been able to score this much. Thank you so
Right.
much,
And
Dr.
I resonate with you, and I've seen this team work so hard and efficiently. Whenever they are in doubt, or whenever there is the problem that needs to be solved, they will not spare the faculties. They will constantly bombard them for solutions, and it's just so beautiful to see all of them work so hard for it. Although they are behind the scenes, they are an essential part of the whole team. Right. I wish you all the best, and thank you for talking to me. Bye bye.
Before concluding, I have something. There is a. I would suggest you this video. It was a video made by you in Marrow YouTube channel. It was something like 2 months to go before NEET PG. When the NEET PG was postponed, you made a
All right.
video regarding how to go about preparing. Please
Okay.
do watch that video, because in that video you have essentially summarized a lot of our questions regarding revision, regarding how to attempt a grand test. You have gave a well structured plan for the last 15 17 days. Even if you are not following that exact schedule, please do watch that video, because a lot of your questions regarding how to revise, how to go about reviewing a grand test, how to stay calm during the exam, how to attempt a question, approach towards the question. A lot of that questions you have already answered in that video, and it helped me a lot. And I hope it helps you too. And thank you so much, and all the very best
Yeah.
to all the guys.
Thank you. I'll try to share that link in the comments. I wish you guys all the best, and everyone watching this. Hopefully, you will learn something from this. Bye bye.